This is the Editor's Half Hour. Step into the life of an editor for 30 minutes as we discuss the craft of editing, industry trends, and editorial resources. Your host is co-founder and CEO of Peak Publishing Inc., Nadia Jaja Pupa. She is experienced in all facets of the publishing industry, from editing to design, and works with corporate clients and self-published authors. Nadia and her guests are about to share powerful insights and stories on what it takes to be an editor. And this is your host, Nadia Jaja Pupa.
Welcome, listeners, to the Editor's Half Hour. You are in for a treat with this episode. We have the best guest today. We are discussing concise editing, the art of concise editing, with Laura Poole. If you have been following Laura Poole on LinkedIn, you know exactly what we're talking about with the snip snip. She is known for her signature snip snip posts, where she'll take a sentence, she'll trim the excess, and show how to just sharpen words, get rid of the clutter, make sentences more meaningful and powerful. So welcome, Laura Poole. I am beyond excited to have you on this episode and just talking about your genius in concise editing. Please introduce yourself to the listeners. Tell us everything we need to know about you.
Oh, hi. I'm delighted to be here, Nadia. So I'm Laura Poole. My company is Archer Editorial Services, and I quit my job at the ripe old age of 24 in 1997. And I've been working full-time freelance editing for, I think it was 28 years now, which kind of is amazing to me. And I started off in general nonfiction. I just said, well, I don't want to do fiction. I don't think I just want to do nonfiction. And I started with travel books, and then I got trained on science journals. And then I'm doing more interesting, nitpicky, detail oriented things. And eventually I settled on doing scholarly nonfiction in the humanities. It's the hardest. I want to do the hardest. I want to be the best. So that's what I've been doing, strictly academic editing for the past decade or so. And all of my clients find me by word of mouth. I don't
Wow.
I don't have to hustle. Yeah. So when the snippets came about originally on Twitter, and I was in social media, I'm not using that to find clients. That's not how my clients find me. That's not where they look for professional editors. So I was like, well, here I'm joining the conversation with other editors. So that's who I'm going to speak to and sort of build my reputation. And on Twitter, obviously, you needed to keep it short. So it was just, well, other editors are going to know what I mean when I say snip, snip. So I'll put the original and snip, snip, and then put the extra, the new version, one of the new versions, I should say. I don't do this 100% of the time, and I wouldn't say this fits all situations, but it's certainly one way to do things. And when I left Twitter, I just brought it over to LinkedIn, and I like it because I don't do big blog posts. I can't maintain my own blog. But I could do like, oh, here's a good example of something. I'll put it in there. I could do that.
And
It's not not a skip. Yeah.
it's so much more manageable to do those little snips too, because they speak for themselves. You don't have to go into paragraphs explaining how you edit or what you're editing. It's just it's so simple and so effective, and everybody goes wild when you post them. I love it. It's been
Sometimes
my favorite.
sometimes I do explain if I feel like, oh, here's the reason I did that if it's not obvious. And I haven't memorized all the grammar rules, so it took me a while to realize one of the constructions that bothered me is actually called a nominalization. So I'm like, oh, I know the word for it now.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, whenever I see your posts, I always like them, and everybody has comments and, "Oh, yeah, I always cut this one, or I always do that," and it's like we all just kinda come together and
Yes.
we all, we meaning editors, and so I feel that they will gain some great tips from listening to this episode.
I hope so.
So I love that you shared that it was Twitter. That's really how it came about, right? So you thought of something interesting. What do you remember what it was? One of those early ones that you had posted that gained a lot of traction?
Not specifically one of the early ones. I did have one tweet go semi-viral, and I wanted to crawl in a hole and die. And it wasn't a snippet, but it was about stop using soft lyrics. You can't afford to quote them. You need permissions. and it got picked up somehow. People were weighing in, and some people were like, "Whoa, that's a bad take." But all the publishers and all the authors, like, no, she's exactly correct. I mean, Neil Gaiman weighed in and said, "You have to be prepared to pay." I paid $10,000 for the rights to this song, and then I had to renegotiate when we went to ebook. And other people, Hank Green even did a TikTok on it and referenced me to, well, I didn't want this kind of attention, but uh, it, I mean, people like, I didn't know that. I'm like, it doesn't count for fair use. The recording industry will get their pound of flesh. And I call it, I don't know why academics need to quote song lyric. Because I'm like,
I
no, take it out, take it out, take it out.
That it blows my mind that in academia they would do that and not know. And I guess it's really more of that publishing side too, because some editors don't know. You
Lot.
cannot do song lyrics. Don't do it. No. And yes, you can, but then the hoops that you have to jump through to get
Yeah.
that to happen.
Publisher doesn't pay for those permissions. The author pays for those permissions.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. That's
Yes.
interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
the author is the one paying, putting the money down, whether it's 10 grand, 20, 30, 40. The author, okay, they're the ones paying. The publisher is not at all involved in that. So then at least the author has a permission, but then the publisher then puts it out if
The
they
publisher
do get.
may help the author secure the permission
Okay.
because whoever owns the rights to the song is not necessarily the artist who released it. Like Dylan sold his entire Bob Dylan sold his entire catalog to Universal, I think.
Right.
So if you want to reprint a Dylan,
Okay.
go to Universal. You have to go through the legal department. And they'll
Right.
say, okay, you're publishing this book, this many copies. He writes, we're going to charge you $10,000. The publisher won't pay that. The author has to pay that.
Oh my God. See, I didn't even know that.
And I think that I paid for the rights to use this song. Here's the exact letter my publisher wrote me saying, if you want to use this, you're going to have to do it. We can help you, but we don't pay. And then he said, what did I do for my next book? I did the exact same thing again and paid X number of thousands of dollars to reprint.
Wow. Wow. So that right there, I mean, that's something that, I mean, the astute editor would know that you do not, you always put those, you flag it, query, whatever you red flag it, whatever you got to do in the Word doc to say, um, do not put these song lyrics in the manuscript or in the article, whatever it is you're editing. So we're veering off a little bit, but let's get back to these snips. This is the juice. This is what we all are just dying to hear about. So we the origin story of the fact that it was on Twitter. You're limited to the amount of text that you could put out there, and people went wild for them. So I guess it's really just the how do I say this? It's creating that balance, I guess, is what I'm getting at is we're always mindful. Editors are always mindful of not changing the meaning of sentences. We don't want to be too aggressive with our edits. Sometimes we are told to be aggressive, or maybe that's not the right word, but a little bit deeper with our edits.
Heavier hand.
Heavier hand. Great. Yes, I've heard that so many times. How do you, Laura, how do you establish that? Is it one of those things that you feel is based on experience, just knowing when and when not to cut something, or in order to, like how would you trim that, and just jump right into, or back in 19, or what was it that you had on LinkedIn? And I remember I commented on it. It was something about during the something or year, and
Yeah.
and you were really good at trimming it. And I'm like, yes, that is so good.
I think one of the ones you commented that you really liked was my use of absolute time instead of relative time.
Yes.
Instead of saying in the past 50 years, because that's dated instantly as of the time of writing. And that publication may sit around for 20, 30 more years. And that the past 50 years is then a moving goalpost. So it actually
That's what it was.
it is easier and quicker to say since 1985.
Yes. That was
Specific.
that is that's what I was trying to get at. Yes, you're exactly right. And I loved that. I freaking love that because we don't realize, like, if you're like you just said, what if this article was published in the 80s and we said, in the past 10 years, like the past 10 years then becomes irrelevant because you've, like you said, you've put that goalpost in and it's stamped in the 80s what the past 10 years, what does that mean in that article? So, yes, okay, I was saying it backwards. It wasn't that it was so you're saying it is, and you're right, it is better to say in the 1990s or in the 1970s, comma, and then
Since this
or s
time, I had one that was in the decade after World War II, in the 40s or 50s. It's not that hard. It's
okay.
yeah, more specific, and that is not only more concise, it helps the reader place it mentally a lot more accurately.
Yeah, I love that. And these are such simple edits that don't require, taking a certificate course. I mean, although I think that it's very helpful to get that, especially if you don't have 10, 15, 20 years of experience as an editor. But I
Mhm.
feel like that's one that really just stuck out at me because it's so easy to say, well, that's grammatically correct to say in the past 10 years. There's nothing wrong with that. However, if it's an academic journal, if this is educational material, it's going to be cited for several years into the future. It is really important to get that accurate and to be more concise in that way. So
It
yeah,
it's
that's the
reader
one.
friendly, yes. Like to say I edit for readers. So saying like since the 1950s is more accurate, it's more concise, and it's easier for the reader to follow than saying
Yeah.
in the past 10 years or in the past 70 years. And that's it's not wrong, like you said, and most of editing is not correcting mistakes. I correct very few mistakes. I do a lot of adjustments for nuance, for clarity, for flow. Like this isn't technically wrong, but I'm going to make it a little better.
That is so important to share this because we're in this age of AI and we will get into that later. But it is so important that you said that, which is that we are not you're not looking for yes, you will catch them, of course. You're going to find the errors, the grammar, punctuation errors. But finding the way to make things more concise is really that is your thing. And I had tried to get into this, but I was just so excited because we have so much to talk about. Going back to my original question of, finding that balance, having that sense of confidence as an editor to say, no, this is a better way to phrase this sentence. That's not something you learn overnight. That is not something that you just take a class and you're like, "Okay, I'm great. I got this." I mean, there's always ways to improve sentences, but I think it's also a mind game, and that's where the art, quote unquote, the art of concise editing comes into play. So, I'm babbling, but Laura, tell us how you have kind of learned that balance between that heavy-handed edit
Mhm.
versus, knowing when and when not. It's like that dance between because it is that gray area of
Yes.
this is not incorrect. Nothing is grammatically wrong. However, this is a better way to say it. So tell us how you juggle that balance.
That's a really great question. Sometimes it is a bit of a juggling act. I tend to have a moderate to light hand. I can give a heady edit, but my best work is those little touches here and there that just make it shine. I learned this about myself when I took the Strengths Finder, the Clifton Strengths Finder 2.0 assessment, and found out that one of my strengths, the things that come naturally to me, is maximizer. And a maximizer takes things from good to great. Don't ask us to take it from bad to good. We're terrible at that.
Okay.
I've had to do it before and I hated it and hated it. I just finished a really gnarly edit. It was written by a legal scholar, so it was very, very overly passive, lots of nominalizations, lots of repetition. And I'm like, I think I'm getting it, but there's so many edits, like I can't. I know I'm missing some things. So I tend to just go in, I sort of clear my mind, start reading. Okay, here's some phrases the author likes to overuse. Let's minimize these, but not cut them out. And one of the things I maintain, and it's going to sound like an oxymoron, but I call it flexible consistency.
Okay.
So consistency is what keeps copy editors in work. We have to do things consistently. And I have a flexibility rule to allow authors to still have their voice. Mistakes are not voice. Mistakes need to be corrected. But if they have a phrase they like to use, or they like to start a sentence with and, but, and yet, that's fine. I'll allow it 1 out of 3 times. So they still
Okay.
have it, but I'm gonna clean it up here and there. But I'll say I don't allow a paragraph to start with a conjunction. I don't like but, yet, or and at the start of a paragraph. Doesn't make sense.
Okay.
So I'll put that on the style sheet, perhaps. Like, oh, I allowed this, but I trimmed it. I trimmed it so it's not overused. One thing people really, really love is not only but also.
Yes.
It drives me crazy just because it's too much. Like most of the time, you just need and. But you can use it, but let's say just once a paragraph tops. And I said it 3 times in a paragraph. I'm like, it loses its impact.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And losing the impact, and the repetitious phrases. I mean, those are some baseline things that you know a typical editor would flag, or maybe overuse of a specific word.
Listen,
That's another thing too, because then you're not creating variety, and like you said, it does lose the impact. Like, in fact, comma, you know, and I've seen it where in fact, and I sometimes do it in my writing, and I'll use that, and I'm like, okay, I need to stop. Like, this is too much.
I
Uh,
see it of words that also mean and. So, and in addition, this too as well. It's just so right there. Like you don't need in addition. You just need in addition or and. This also too. It's just like,
this also too as well.
not all of them, but yeah, that's the running joke. We're like, and in addition, not only that, but this too as well. Sure,
It's so,
read them actually.
it's so classic. No, I do love that. I love this conversation so much. I really I could talk about this for hours and hours and hours, because this is truly, like I said at the beginning, it is the heart of what we do as editors. This is going beyond the the baseline copy edit of just finding errors. This is improvement. And I love that you said, that you're not correcting errors. It's beyond that. And so I'm gonna definitely remember this. It was the flexible consistency. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Using the flexible consistency when you edit total. I love that so much, because it 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 captures everything that we do. It really does. Understanding, like, it's the balance not only with the author's writing, but then also just knowing as the editor when and when not to flag something. So that is just so great. Um, Gosh, Laura, there's so much I have to ask you. And I'm like, okay, I need to calm down. It's like my true nerdy side is coming out. And when you talked about how did you phrase it? Going from bad to good, but you like going from good to great. That
Yes.
speaks a lot about you. It speaks a lot about your standards as an editor.
Mm.
Which I truly admire. And it really speaks to me personally, because
Yep.
that's how I feel when I approach my projects. It's how can we make it great? Not how can we make it good? No, I should say, most people, when they're in a course, when they're taking a course, or striving to do their best, obviously we can't be perfect, but striving for perfection. It speaks to the editor who wants to do their absolute best. And I think that is so important to hear, that going from good to great is pushing you, and you want that challenge. It's not for every editor out there. I mean, I don't think that a newbie editor could just jump right in and do the type of quality edit that you would do. And so let's talk about that experience. Let's talk about some stories and learning lessons
Oh yeah.
that you picked up along the way, where you're like, "Oh my gosh, will always remember this. I will always learn from this." And then you improve every time, right? Your edits improve every time. And now it's just like you've got it down.
I'd
And now,
say I got it now, but then somebody's like, you did this inconsistently, oh,
oh,
okay. What did I do inconsistently? So what does that change in my procedure next time I go through?
see, that's what I love. But I can say with pure confidence that you are truly at a point where you can now teach other editors. So let's talk about your teaching gig coming up, or gigs, I should say, an official thing. And then we'll get back into this topic of going from good to great.
I will say I actually started training people in I think 2009.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
wow, I've been at this a long time now. I could be training people. I think it was 2009. Might have been. Yeah, actually, I think that's right. So I had a
Okay.
friend who was also very skilled. We had very complementary skills. She'd worked in house as well as freelance. And I said, what if we did this together? Because I was like, if I have a partner, I'll actually do it. So we created a workshop and I started giving it privately. I started piggybacking conferences and giving it. When I had a baby and decided not to travel for a while, I broke it into webinars. And that led to all sorts of other opportunities, lots and lots of opportunities come my way because now I'm an expert. So I have taught for UC San Diego Extension program and copy and publishing and copy editing. I've taught for Duke University continuing education, the certificate in technical communication. And I just accepted a job, which I'm very excited to announce formally, that I will be teaching for the University of Chicago continuing studies program. They're extremely well regarded program in copy editing. And I'll be teaching basic manuscript editing later this fall. I'm very excited.
Oh, I am so excited for you. What a great opportunity for you, but also an even better opportunity for the students to learn from you
That's
because you are really bringing a lot of experience to the table that is so valuable for these people to hear. Especially for the intimidation factor, which I really wanted to get into with you. There have been moments in my career where I've edited content that, or I should say just material, educational material that went way over my head. And I'm like, I have no idea what I'm reading. I can read this. I am reading the sentences. I am not comprehending them fully.
Mhm.
I think I know. I mean, I'm getting into like cryptocurrency stuff.
Yeah.
It was other areas and engineering, complex engineering principles,
Mhm. Or like
economics
a
things.
noun. There's a verb, I
There's a
think.
verb, I think.
There's a period at the end. I've read stuff like that over my head.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I want you to talk about that. I want you to talk about the editorial struggle there because there is one. And I do think that there is an intimidation factor there.
Mhm.
The authors are always so great, right? They're always like, well, we don't need you to understand it fully. It's great that you're the editor because having the objective perspective is great because the audience who's reading this is a general audience. This is the stuff we hear and we've been through it, right? But let's speak directly to the editor listening who maybe is editing something a little intense right now.
Okay.
And they're probably like, holy crap. What am I'm in over my head, having the self-doubt, having the intimidation, letting the content intimidate them.
Okay.
I have had that happen to me where very early in my freelancing career, had already been an editor for a few years, but then I was editing something that it almost brought me to tears because I was allowing the intimidation to take over. And once I took a deep breath, I got through it and everything was fine and it turned out great. But I want to hear your story. So I know you've got more than one.
I do go a couple. So
Yeah.
I have been fired mid project. And it was fun. I was like, I can edit anything. I don't need to be an expert. And it was technical and it was way more technical than I thought. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm reading here.
Ah.
And so when I have the gut feeling of like, I'm uncertain if I'm doing this right, usually I'm really 95% confident I'm doing it right. If I'm not feeling that level, that's when I need to talk to the client. So I said, can I get some feedback? Because I am not sure I quite got this right. And they're like, it's fine, keep going. It's fine, keep going. I was like, I think it's fine. So I
Uh-huh.
kept going. And then one day the client phoned me back when we phoned each other. And as Laura, yeah, we need to talk. And I went, I'm fired, aren't I? She went, well, yeah. I'm like, please find somebody who can do this. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It was much harder than I thought. Please just pay me for my time. And it was fine.
Oh,
And I was like,
okay.
relieved. I want my clients to have the best editor possible. Sometimes I'm not that editor.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. I did a very difficult philosophy edit. It was a collection of previously published philosophy in notes and footnotes. And I went, yeah, I'm not doing philosophy anymore because it reads
Okay.
like word salad. The joke is that the is, the was is, it's punctuated
Oh,
for you. So I had to say, okay, no more philosophy for me.
okay.
But
Okay.
they wanted my eye on all those details, and so they you flatter me and I'll do it. Like, "We want you because you're so good." I'm like, "You something like that, okay." A sucker for it. I mean, who isn't? But, I made plenty of mistakes. I've been called on
Yeah.
it and I've been given feedback, and the first thing I learned was to say, "I'm sorry. I did it wrong. It won't happen again." And there's a epidemic in this world of people not wanting to admit fault for things. They would die rather than admit they made a mistake. And I don't understand that because in this business, as a freelancer, if someone is giving me constructive feedback, it means they want me to keep working for them. If they really didn't like me, they just would never call me again. I can't keep clients if someone says, well, that's not, I'd say, well, that's not how I do it. I'm not going to keep that client. I need to eat. I got work to pay.
Right.
So I learned to say this was my fault. I'm sorry. I just had a meeting about that today. Some problems in proof, and then I was like, "You think I made all those mistakes? Those were okay. I did that. Yeah, okay. I need to review this heavily. So I put it on my process sheet. Make sure you quadruple check where these names appear. Make sure you quadruple check how the book review headings appear. Because I like to get better. That's how I grow.
I love that. I think that is beyond encouraging. I mean, that is the best thing you could share because the editors who are afraid, we're all afraid to make mistakes. No one wants to make mistakes, but I think admitting the fault, learning from the lesson makes you nothing but stronger. I mean, you get stronger every time, and every time you're like, okay, that is something I didn't have in my process before, and now I'm going to add it because you never had to add something to it depends on the complexity of what you're looking at. And so maybe these things, yeah,
It taught me what I don't see. Like my eyes
right.
see right over headings, and I'll have typos in the headings, and I realize, see a heading, go back and read it. And about failure, it's bad for the ego, but it's good for the soul.
Yeah.
You're gonna have some failures. It's not the end of the world. If you miss this thing, you'll sometimes have an off day.
Yeah. Yeah. I see that's so great to hear and it's so encouraging to hear. So we do have to wrap this up. I always get sad at the end of these episodes and I never want to wrap them up because of course we could talk for hours. But if I have a fun question for you.
Okay.
Okay. So here's a fun one and we'll end on a fun one. And then we are going to transfer to our exclusive content. So if you're interested in listening to the exclusive content, the after party episode of this episode, go to my Patreon and support my Patreon. You can join as a sneak peek, cute, quote unquote, on the peak. It's spelled PIQUE, like Peak Publishing. And if you pay $5 a month, you can get access to all of my exclusive interviews. Laura, I want to hear Laura's opinions on her thoughts and opinions on AI. I want to hear some more of these juicy stories about what you've experienced in the workplace or as a freelancer, probably more of a freelancer thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to get more of those stories, and that's what I want to hear. But let's end this episode with a fun question about editing scissors. This is based on your snip post. If you had some editing scissors, like actual physical editing scissors in real life, is there an everyday word, like word clutter, that you would just kill or just cut from modern day communication? Let's cut. I will say, I had a boss several years ago. She hated the word all, just the word all in so many cases. And she was right because then when I went back to my edits, I will be honest with you, 90% of the use of the word all could be removed. It never did quite make it to my list. I didn't adopt her mentality with the word all, but I very much have that radar when I'm reading and editing that you can eliminate the word all. So anyway, let's get back to you. What is your word, Laura? Do you have a single word or a phrase that you would just you cut like 90% of the time?
Impactful. I hate it. And that's a personal vendetta. I just hate the word. People use it. They're going to use it. It's fine. I'll make sure it's spelled right, but I hate it. I don't
You
know.
hate impactful? Okay, tell me why. Impactful. Why do you hate impactful?
Yeah, because it's people overuse the word impact when they
Okay.
mean affect or effect. And so I
Okay.
changed most of those. This is
Okay.
a version of the word impact 3 times in a single sentence. I'm like, is it a impact of wisdom tooth or meteor impact? No, it is an
Oh,
affect. I am starting to allow it more,
okay.
but I
Okay.
be impactful.
Oh, I love that.
Recently, one that is bothering me that it doesn't mean much is as such. As such, you don't need it.
Okay.
Literally, it
As
doesn't.
such. As such. Okay. Now I'm going to start looking for this when I read, when I edit.
I've got loads more, but those are the only 2 I'm going to leave you with.
Well, I think, and we could have had the entire episode just about that alone, but I think that this will encourage listeners to find you on LinkedIn, follow Laura. You will not be disappointed. You've got the great posts, Laura, like just the best ones, because it's the core of what we do as editors. And it's just speaks so strongly to what we're doing every day, day in and day out. So any last words, Laura? Anything you want to add to the end of this official interview? We can always bring it up in the exclusive after party.
I would say be confident in your edits. Go for
I
it.
love it. I love it. It's simple yet profound in some ways. So I can't thank you enough. We're going to head on over to our exclusive interview. Listeners, find me on peakpublishing.com/podcast to get all the information you need. You can sign up for the newsletter. You can look into the Patreon and explore past episodes. One last thing I forgot to mention is I am still running my giveaway. I have a signed copy of Amy Schneider's copy editing for the Chicago Guide for copy editing fiction. And I also have a box of affirmation cards I'm going to give away for free, a tote bag, some other fun goodies. So if you're interested, sign up for the Patreon and I will announce it at the last episode of this year. So that will be the December 1st episode. I'll announce the winner who gets these fabulous prizes. So this concludes our interview. If you want to find Laura and find me, we will both be at the Red Pencil Conference this year, right?
Yes, we will.
Laura will be speaking. She will be there meeting other editors. That'll be the Red Pencil Conference by the Northwest Editors Guild in early November, first weekend of November. Follow us both on LinkedIn. We'll probably be posting some updates about that, but it is a fabulous conference and I'm so excited for it. So thank you again, Laura. This has been such a wonderful interview. I can't wait to hear some more juicy stories. We're going to keep talking.
Thank you for listening to the Editor's Half Hour. This podcast is your go-to resource for editorial trends, opening the discussion for new ideas through the real-life stories of editors. For more information about Nadia Jaja Pupa and her business, visit peakpublishing.com. That's PIQUE publishing.com. And remember to subscribe and follow the Editor's Half Hour wherever you get your podcasts.